Welcome to I'ma Let You Finish on the Pantheon Podcast Network with your hosts, Court and Amy. It's
Hi.
us. This is show 79. We're getting closer to 100. Show 79. We're 2.5 years in, kids. Actually, 2.5 because June.
2.5.
June will make 3 years of I'ma Let You
I know.
Finish.
And June will also make the last time I was on a plane.
Right.
Wow.
What's that? I just hear them going over my head.
I hear people talking about them. Yes.
You know what I mean? I had a friend who just got back from a vacation, a beach, and I was like, I have not put my foot in water that was not on a New York beach in years. It's been so long since I've been to an island somewhere.
Long? Not long.
Long.
No, Long Island.
Yeah, well, that don't count.
Long Island?
I need the kind where somebody's coming by and they have a nice tropical cocktail that they give me and shit.
Oh. The Bronx? They don't do that in the Bronx?
Well, speaking of the Bronx, let's get all of the sass about the way. Well, one good thing. Cardi B, a native of the Bronx, has announced that she is helping to pay for the funerals of all 17 people who were killed in the Bronx fire. So she's going to help with expenses because they had the mass funeral here, but they want to fly the bodies home. So she's covering the expenses for those families.
It's a huge Gambian community from the Gambia. We have made our opinions about Cardi over and over again. I don't care whether you like the woman's music or not. This woman steps up every time, not when she's asked to, she steps up. And that's all I want to say about her. And she steps up and she doesn't make a big production deal about it. And she is not from the Gambia, so she doesn't have a cultural link. But I mean,
but what she said is, she says, I'm from the Bronx. A lot of my family and friends still live and work in the Bronx. I will always see if I can help. Do you know who else stepped up? Surprisingly enough, Bethany Frankel.
I'm not surprised at that at all. She does a lot of stuff she does a lot of charity work, but kind of not super. Yeah, I mean,
what she did was really different because, yes, there's a lot of government services and stuff out there helping people and the mayor's fund. But, some people are, people have different issues. So they were just burned out of their house. So what are they asking everybody for when they come there? Where's your paperwork? What do you have? People fled their house in the fire. People don't have anything. What Bethany did was she came with boxes full of supplies and gift card and cash cards and came to that hotel where those families were and gave them supplies and cash without no paperwork being needed. And I think, we have to make it. I know they're always worried about people scamming, but that can't be the first line of defense. And when people are in trouble, it can't be like, where's all your paperwork for us to help you? They've been burned out of this building. You need to just help them. Then last night, I get a prompt that Andre Leon Talley died. And I'm just like,
well,
okay.
that
just came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And that just was really sad. Listen, I know with some people, he has a complicated history. I think a lot with maybe more men than women, but he was an amazing guy. And, he did break a lot of grounds in fashion. He's an icon for the community. And there's nobody else like that in fashion. You notice the new editors and everything today, they're a little more reserved. There's no one who was just so big and grand. He was just always so grand.
Well, he recognized, and I really recommend the documentary, The Gospel According to Andre Leon Talley.
It's really good.
Because there was a time that he almost could veer into caricature in a way.
Yes.
But that said, when you watch this, you come to realize and come to appreciate that was part of his sort of his sort of the flamboyance, in the sense that it was capital F fashion for him. Yeah. And there's something at a time where it's not embraced. Yes, fashion is escapism, and he was aware of that, but he was also very socially conscious, and he became more and more of a spokesperson quietly behind the scenes for representation of Black models, Black designers, Black art directors, Black editors, because none of these decisions get made unless the people at the top
are having the conversation.
Are representative.
Yeah.
So he's, people used to clown on him a little because he was so larger than life and sort of a Cruella de Vil kind of with the capes and everything. Mm-hmm. But he was actually watching this documentary. He's actually very funny, was very funny. And very sad because he was a very essential, even if you don't care about fashion, it's like the Devil Wears Prada, where she's like going, oh, that blue. And she goes, oh, you mean that blue that someone saw someplace and now you're wearing it. Right. Even if you don't quote unquote care about fashion, he made a huge impact in terms of how we look at art and aesthetics, Yeah. So the very sad. He had poor health for quite some time. So and then on a really, really sad note, as we finished last week, we got the news that again, a term that is overused, but oh my God, applies in this case, the legendary, iconic, one-of-a-kind Ronnie Spector passed away. And
they don't make them like that anymore.
All I can tell you.
That's a certain type of New York uptown
New York.
They just don't make them like that anymore.
The headline in the Rolling Stone obit was the Queen of the New York Dolls.
You know what I'm saying?
She was. And certainly for a younger generation, you can hear her and see her influence in Amy Winehouse. That's the most obvious, because Amy Winehouse was a huge fan of all the girl groups, not just the Ronettes. But in the older groups, when you listen to groups like the New York Dolls and the Ramones and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, the Ronettes were coming up at the same time that these guys were making bands. Just a phenomenally, that voice, Be My Baby, is a perfect song. And her look, the eyeliner and the beehive and performing pretty much up until the end.
Yep.
So
listen,
very sad.
It's a legendary Washington Heights.
Spanish Harlem, not Washington Heights.
I thought she was Washington Heights.
But New York City. New York City. And a multiracial group, a group. They opened for the Rolling Stones, dated members of the Rolling Stones. It was Keith Richards who inducted the Ronettes into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That genre of music.
You're right. East Harlem. You're right. Yeah. She's East Harlem. Yeah.
The super, the kind of doo-wop and the girl group stuff.
Right.
I mean, it is foundational to so much of the girl groups we hear now. I mean, I'm sorry if for a group like Destiny's Child to pretend they never listened to the Ronettes, or I'm not saying they are, but all these groups, that was the template for it. And so a great, her and Darlene Love, probably the two best female vocalists of that era. And so it was, her stuff is great. Go and listen to the Ronettes. I believe it was her sister and her cousin and her. So rest in peace, Veronica Bennett Spector. So
she had 5 kids. I didn't realize Ronnie had 5 kids.
Yeah, none of them, thankfully, with Phil Spector, I don't think.
No, 2 are with Phil Spector.
Oh, well. I don't know. Maybe they got her gene pool. As we said when Phil Spector died, miserable human. Even she said it. Amazing producer, lousy husband. A miserable human being, but you cannot deny the man's talent.
Well, it's perfect that you say miserable human being, because we're about to talk about one that was, how do we say in France, where I'm not from, deported.
Oh, by the way, look who came to say hello.
Oh, it's Spoonie finally. Spoonie, what's up? Spoonie the cat has not made an appearance in weeks. I was starting to worry because that tail would always pop up on the screen.
There she goes. Her tail's in my face again.
There it is. So yeah, Novak Djokovic.
Or Novak Djokovic.
And Australian tennis. The head of Australian tennis came up with some plan that he thought would work. It amazingly backfired. It has caused an international incident. And here's all I'm going to say on this, and I've said it a million times on this show. I don't believe in forcing anybody to have a vaccine. I think you should get it if you want to, but if you don't, fine. But then I think you have to realize during a global pandemic that sometimes you just might have to sit some shit out. It can't be like, I don't want to do the thing that's required that everybody else is doing. Then I should get to do the other thing anyway, da, 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 da. It's like, listen, something's got to give. We got to try to end this shit. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, I am 1000% here for you making that choice. But I'm also thinking, no, I am, but you got to stay home.
Yeah.
You can't do it. That's my only thing. We're in a global health crisis. No matter what you think about it, we are actually still in the middle of it. And the reason why all of these variants keep going around is everybody's just got it in their mind that it's over. And they say, well, it's just going to be like the flu one day. But nobody said that's today. And I do know people who were asymptomatic, and didn't have really horrible COVID. But the after shit that they're having is lasting a lot longer than the actual COVID that they didn't really get badly. So there's this weird thing where it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Just be like, I got to sit this year out and I'll see you guys next year. But this whole circus was an embarrassment to Australia. It's an embarrassment to him, even though he doesn't seem to think so. And it's really annoying because I think it's starting to get to the point of selfishness. It's like, yes.
Wait a minute, starting to get to the point of selfishness? Starting to get to the point of selfishness?
I wish you guys could see her face when she
He has to be vaccinated for every other disease to enter into certain countries and to go to school and everything else. I don't want to get into a thing, but the way you end diseases and variants is for everyone not to vaccinate. He lied. Full stop. Yes. He lied to get into the country. He lied about his status. He put other people at risk. So yes, tennis is a solo sport and that he doesn't have a team, unlike, Kyrie, but very selfish and arrogant and selfish. And you know what? He's not going to be able to play in the French Open. He's not going to be able to play in Wimbledon. He's not going to be able to play at Arthur Ashe. So clearly he is so determined to die on this hill, possibly literally. So I have zero sympathy for the man. I really do, because he's decided it's more important to take a stand. I have zero sympathy for him. He's more important for him to take a stand,
Well, my thing is he lied. We've talked about that.
He lied.
For everybody, I will say it again for all of you people. When people always say shit like, my people and people, I worked at 2 different management companies. So I was someone's people. I knew their schedule better. They never know their schedule. I knew their schedule better than anyone. I have filled out paperwork for artists and product to get in and out of just about every fucking corner of this globe. That paperwork, you go over it and you go over it again. And when you answer questions, you know what you're putting on there. His people know his schedule. That is not a mistake to put. He did not travel within 14 days or however many amount of days when coming into Australia. It was on purpose because they knew that thing would get his paperwork stopped and the visa would be denied. So whenever you hear people start saying something about people's people, it's a very easy way to kind of try to throw people under the bus. But those people put that on there on purpose. It was not a mistake, and he knew about it. You talk to your artist about what you got to do in the paperwork you're filling out. He wasn't going on some tour. He's one person. You know what I'm saying? You weren't worried about dancers in the band. No one can pull I had no idea. Because
he's been deported. I think his tennis career is over.
No, it's not.
He's not going to be able to play in any major tournaments.
We will see. Let's see. Because we've seen people grant people special access for bullshit. I'm not going to, because he's too big of a, here's the thing. They have no Serena and he's the number one tennis player male on the male side.
He's not coming to New York. I will almost bet you he won't come to New York.
But we'll see what happens by the time September.
Maybe he'll get vaccinated. Maybe he'll straighten his monkey ass out.
We'll see what happens with New York by the time September rolls around.
You know what?
France is next. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
Because they just passed that law. And the law, the French health minister just said there will be no exemption.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have zero sympathy for anyone who will not get vaccinated. Full stop. Zero sympathy. Get vaccinated. It's very easy. You have to get vaccinated for everything else. I have a student right now who, for some reason, is, wants an exemption, got an exemption. So I have to create a curriculum. No. Get your ass vaccinated or don't go to school. It's really simple.
Amy,
it's like,
Amy.
Seriously, it's really simple. It's like, I don't believe in car seats. Well, you have no choice. You have to have
you don't
a
know
car
if that
seat.
student has an underlying condition. You don't know.
Then don't go to school this year.
Oh.
Wait till your underlying condition. There was no underlying. No, I have no sympathy. Then take an online class. Don't ask to take a class that's on whatever. The point is that I have zero sympathy for him. I hope he gets vaccinated. I hope he sees the light. I know he was raised in in rough circumstances. I know he's a national hero. But
it's been a long time since he's been in those circumstances.
No, and I know he's living in a country that's very messed up right now in terms of its government. But I have zero sympathy for him. Likewise, I have zero sympathy for Kyrie Irving, who I think is the poster child for selfishness, because unlike Djokovic, who is making stupid decisions, but stupid decisions for himself, Kyrie Irving is making stupid decisions that is impacting his team's chances, who are paying him buckets and buckets of money, of possibly getting into the championship, because he is not allowed to play he can't play home games in New York, which means he can't play at Barclays. He can't play at the Garden. There's a couple other cities he can't play either, right? He can't play in Canada. So again, what point is he making? What is it like? Stop it.
Again, my thing is this with him. I understand if you believe it, then be like, I'm sitting out the entire year. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, don't get a check.
The in and out, because now that Kevin Durant is hurt. But my big issue with Kyrie is it's always something with him, right? Every team he's been on, this to me, this is just the latest Kyrie thing, because there's something every team. He was supposed to be the man in Boston. That didn't work out. He was unhappy in Cleveland and mad about that. That didn't work out. So of course he came here, and even before COVID, they paying him bucket loads of money, and he stays injured. So he plays like 20 games a season or some bullshit. So to me, him not playing is like, it's been since he's been here. So I'm like, it's just another Kyrie thing. That's how I look at him, because of course it is.
Zero tolerance for this at this point.
Yeah, this subject, I know, this subject really.
Because come on, because we're all doing the right thing. And everybody else can too, because if this were a measles vaccine, nobody would be complaining. Listen, all of these people are vaccinated.
Right. Yeah. If a head starts to grow out the side of my head, fuck it. It's like, we don't even know what we're eating in our food. So at this point,
if you did drugs in New York City in the bathrooms in the 80s, give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think that was cocaine? I don't think so.
I did have one.
Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about something we love. Talk about that underground singer you've been championing, that woman. Who is she? What's her name again?
Adelaide. I will say this. I made a prediction last week that there'd be a video with lots of beauty lighting, good makeup, and expensive clothes. What I didn't figure on was the Black people expressive dancing in between those shots. What was that about?
There was a lot of, is that the Rich Paul influence? Is that because she's got really good seats at the cryptocurrency center?
It got very...
I
was like, come on, Dance Africa. I was like, yes, Dance Africa, real. Just
I didn't know that urban bush women were doing videos.
It's big, full on.
It's very impressive. Go down,
honey. Okay, so so evidently She is now Adele LaQuisha Harris Johnson Johnson.
Well, it was directed by the same guy who did my favorite video. My two favorite Adele videos are Chasing Pavements. I love that video.
I love that video.
And I love Rolling in the Deep. And
I really like this one too. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. But it's the same director who did Rolling in the Deep.
She gives us what we want. Looking pretty, expensive clothes. She ain't dancing around and Dance Africa. So I was here for it. Yeah, I really liked it.
I like it a lot. I mean, it's Adele. I like that it's that one shot. I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, she's not a dance music artist. She doesn't dance. So she would look absolutely ridiculous at this stage of her career trying to get up there and dance. And I think
remember when
works.
Whitney Houston used to dance? Do you remember that?
But Whitney was under pressure to do that. See,
no, I don't think Whitney. Whitney wasn't. Whitney wanted to dance. She was not under pressure to do that.
No, she was.
Do you think Whitney was under pressure to dance?
No, here's why. Because Whitney started, seriously, because I wrote an essay about her. I did. I had to research that. Right. When she got that blowback about not being black enough, one of the criticism was you're not black enough and you're not white. So she felt like she had to up. Do you really think Clive Davis wanted her up? He wanted her elegant and kind of like, she felt like she had to up the quote unquote blackness, was just when she started working with Babyface and
I'm Your Baby Tonight. That's why the whole I'm Your Baby Tonight.
Right. So I'm not saying she sat there and goes, oh my God, if I don't dance, they're going to hate me. But she suddenly decided.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when she was dancing during the I Want to Dance with Somebody phase. Remember that? Those performances?
But that was more dancing. That was very white girl from the waist up dancing. That was a lot of waist up, like, cut to the crinoline, cut up. Nobody was, I mean, you know what I mean? That was waist up dancing. There was nothing wrong with that.
You know who else who does terrible when they try to dance? Alicia Keys. I do not know why. I went to see her at Madison Square Garden with a bunch of people. I don't know why I went to that show. Anyway, but when she was trying to dance, I was like, why do you try to dance?
I know.
You cannot dance.
Why do you try? Why do you try to? We could just start that with everything with Alicia Keys. All right, but let's talk about a dance music artist and an artist, well, every kind of music, not just dance music. Who also has a new video out, Stromae, and he has a new video out called, and I cannot pronounce it, it's L'Enfer. It means hell in French. He does sing in French. He's a Belgian Rwandan artist. He sings in French. You guys know who Stromae is. I mean, his third album is going to come out. He is going to be up high on the bill at Coachella, which we'll talk about. Puts on a I've seen his concerts online. Phenomenal.
So is he going to tour the States this time, you think?
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. But he's doing Coachella. I mean, for sure.
Right.
There's just no one like him. I mean, he's a great songwriter. Yes, he does sing in French, so you do have to. You know what's great about him? I don't speak French. I sometimes look at the lyrics, online, but you can feel what he's talking about, even though you don't know what he talks about very deep stuff. I mean, he talks about growing up without a father. He talks about and this song is about sort of the darkness when you reach a dark part. You know, it's very much in that Jacques Brel romantic sort of existential French, and it's dance music. You know, it's got this edge. I hope he tours. So far, 2 singles off this forthcoming album, and they're both good, and neither one of them sound like either the other one. So I'm very, very excited about Stromae. And so he and Adele both have new singles out and both have new videos out, and super arty. So yeah, Coachella. So the headliners, never been to Coachella, never had. I mean, that Coachella has jumped the shark. I think we all know that.
But yes.
The headliners are pop. Each of the weekends it's already sold out. First off,
yeah. Well, it sells out instantly because
it's already sold out.
That's the jump the sharkness of it. Right now, it's that thing.
Right. Where everybody goes. There's like a Coachella look.
The floral crown. The right kind of boot and the short and It's a bit much. It's a bit much. I mean, when Insecure sets an episode there, you know that like things have gone. But anyway, so Billie Eilish is the first headliner. The first weekend is Harry Styles, and some of the acts. They're huge acts. I can't read the poster because it's made for 20-year-olds because the font is so freaking tiny. Right. So it's Harry Styles with Lil Baby, Daniel Caesar, and everybody in the world. Billie Eilish with Stromae and Megan Thee Stallion and everybody in the world, and then Ye with Doja Cat, Run the Jewels, and everybody in the world. And I think these are all 3 great
All three great acts.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great acts, but that just lets you know, right, how much has jumped the shark, because that's not what Coachella was. It wasn't a big.
Is what it was,
no,
right?
But it's like all of these festivals to me are the same show, just with different names and different locations with the same acts. Because it used to be this one would be geared toward like rock bands and like hardcore, really cool dance acts and that kind of shit. This one over here was more like the Lollapalooza was more like those alternative, but now they all just book the same people. So it's just in different locations, those names that are legendary that people keep using, but there's nothing that seems special about that. You know what I mean? That could be Governor's Ball in New York. That sounds like the same thing.
I see what you're saying, but first off, keep in mind that they had to cancel it last year, that people are not doing big nationwide tours. So I would say a chance to see Harry Styles, who is an arena artist at this point, and Billie Eilish. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but Rage Against the Machine.
Harry just got off a nationwide U.S. tour. He just did it. Literally, it just ended, you know?
All right. Well, now more, I mean, but he's huge.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, because it was like an alternative thing, but alternative has no meaning anymore as a phrase.
Right.
None of this has meaning anymore. No, it really doesn't.
And neither does Coachella to me. It just all seems like another marketing moment for all of the
It totally is.
The Instagram, TikTok moments of it all.
It totally is. You know? It totally is. But with that said, these are I don't think any of these acts are like the event, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're playing here. They are, I hear what you're saying. They are like, oh, big surprise, Billie Eilish, the biggest female, female pop star, big surprise, yay, the biggest. But I think they will be good shows.
Oh, listen, they'll be great shows, right?
All three of them are good shows.
They'll be great shows. And you could also see them down the street at the Piggly Wiggly, and they're stopping at the Publix on Tuesday.
I would go to the Piggly Wiggly that Harry Styles was at. Because
you're obsessed with him. You are really obsessed with him.
Yeah, me and 5 million other people. I love him, and I've always loved him.
You have,
and I love Billie Eilish. And like I said, we have our issues with Ye, but great in concert. He puts on a great show. I mean, that's kind of, and he'll pull some shenanigans, and that's what people want. They want the shenanigans. And the big news is that Swedish House Mafia has gotten back together.
Which is like, oh wow, great.
Who are they? I mean, I know they're
a dance act, and they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Are they like three guys who stand?
And they've had some pop hits, but yeah, they don't. Yes, kind of.
There's three guys who stand behind a turntable, go whoop whoop.
Basically, too.
Okay,
yeah, basically.
So like a really poor man's Joe Quesal, like a super poor man's, without being talented.
No, well, they have they have hits, and they've remixed a lot of shit. They were at that moment when the EDM thing really just was ridiculously huge, and we were all scratching our heads, and people were
like
getting
the David Guetta world.
Yes, and everybody was getting like $100,000. I'll tell you offline once where they wanted me to get a remix by a certain someone in that world, and that certain someone's people said to me, well, he gets $100,000 plus publishing. He's a big star. I said, not bigger than the name I'm calling you about. It's like, are you kidding me?
Well, it must be a big deal because
I was like, we're not giving away publishing for a remix and $100,000. No, honey.
Come on.
No.
Yeah, not worth it.
No.
Well, one person.
Oh, and again, no.
Yeah, and then that would be a no. Someone who's not going out on tour is Celine Dion.
So Celine, Celine.
No, I'm being. Why are you singing that? I said,
I'm singing for Celine right now, and you were interrupting my chakra for Celine because something's going on with Celine.
We've said this before that she is supposed to be not supposed to be. That
I've met her. She's a
super nice,
very nice woman. Very nice woman. Very nice. But she's having some sort of medical issues where she had to cancel. She was supposed to go back to Vegas for a new Vegas residency. And then she was supposed to continue her Courage World Tour, and now she's canceled.
She has back issues, they said, or muscular.
There's some kind of muscle spasms that are just happening and not stopping. And this has been for a while, and she's recovering and ready yet. So that's a lady that we want to get well, because even though she is Canadian to Americans, I still believe like Celine Dion is a national treasure.
Canada is America. You know that, right?
Well, I mean, North America, sweetie.
Canada is North America.
Oh, fuck.
That, right?
Wait.
I was married.
Wait. With all defiance, North America. And you're like, bitch. Yeah.
I was married. I married a Canadian guy when I was a teenager, at 19 years old, to help him stay. He was my boyfriend, but we got married so he could get his green card. And I would refer it to being American. And he would go, I'm an American. I'm like, all right, whatever. I like
yeah,
Canadians.
but you know what? But Canadians don't call themselves American. They say they're Canadian. You know what I mean? So
well, I mean, but they are American. If you tell a Canadian they're not American, they'll go, look at a map.
Right.
There we are.
That is true.
But I like Celine too.
Hilarious.
I don't really, her music doesn't mean much to me, but she seems like a super nice person. I certainly hope she has like a slush fund to live on while she isn't able to tour.
I think for some reason,
do you think she's going to be okay?
I have a sneaking suspicion.
Okay. I don't want to have to set up a GoFundMe for her.
That she might be all right.
Okay, because I couldn't live with the guilt knowing that Celine was not going to be okay.
Someplace in a dirty ward, sharing a room with 52 other people.
Going back to that shotgun shack she grew up in Quebec, in French-speaking Canada, with her 15 brothers and sisters, and they worked in the circus. I made up that last part, but she did have a lot of brothers and sisters. I don't think they were circus people, but I hope she does get better, because she's super nice, and we like showmanship.
We do. And listen, nobody can sing a tune like a good. It's like a giant lady screaming at you for 2 hours. It's fabulous.
Well, that's a selling point. Remind me not to have you do the press release for that. Celine Dion is back. A giant lady screaming at you. Her heart will go on. Her back isn't in good shape, but her heart will go on.
For 2 hours.
For 2 hours. All right, talk a little. You want to talk about Morales, or do you want to just...
Okay, here's the thing. Let me just say this, people. When I'm the dance, I love dance music. I just do. I feel I'm a big pop fan, but I think today's pop music is shit. So there's not a lot that really excites me, if I can 1000% honest. But the masters keep coming out with great albums. And David Morales has a new album called Life is a Song. And it right now is exclusively on TrackSource. I believe it is everywhere on the 27th of this month. And do yourself a favor. If you love amazing house music, you need to just get it, because David is just the kind of beats, grown, sexy, danceable, the kind that make your body just move, you throw your hands in the air, the kind, Amy, that you would hear in Fort Greene.
Back in the day.
It's a full vibe. And the first single is...
No, he's great.
Yeah, and the first single is featuring, I don't know. It's called I Can Dream, and it's featuring the legendary Ultranate, legendary.
We love her.
Who is coming out. She's finishing up her 10th album. She's coming out. So, what's Shep Pettibone doing these days? Is he still around? Well, Shep retired from remixing years ago. But, Shep owns like the Paradise Club and that hotel in where is it? Not Atlantic City. It's where's the Rocking Horse? Asbury Park, and the gay hotel and clubs. Yes, So he's
good for him.
People have tried. They just put out a vinyl box set of greatest remixes overseas that Bill Coleman did the liner notes for. But
perfect.
People have tried to pull him out to be like, would you remix something again? But no, he's just...
Junior Vasquez, is he retired too?
He's retired, but he's still in New York, and I think he does stuff occasionally, but I think he's pretty retired.
Okay. I used to love Mr. Fingers. He passed away, right?
Yeah, I believe he passed away.
Yeah, I like Mr. Fingers, and I like
that Chicago house,
and Little Louis.
And Louis still here, and Louis very active.
No, not that Louis, not Little Louis, the French Kiss.
Oh, Little Louis.
Louis, sorry.
Yeah, Little Louis. Yes. Out of Chicago.
Yeah, that Chicago?
Two great. His 2 albums on Epic are great.
Oh, they were great.
They are great. And if you like that, you'll love this new David Morales. You'll love it.
I'm gonna check it out, because I do like that kind of stuff. All right. You want to do TLC first or Cheer? Your choice.
So you told me the new Cheer was coming back. I had no idea. I was like, I'm not going to watch this shit. So of course, over the weekend, I put on one episode, and next thing I know, it was like episode 10.
It was Sunday night.
And I watched the whole thing. It was interesting this time, right? It was interesting how you could clearly see they were filming it with Jerry. So you know that they had to edit out a lot of him because he became such the star in the first one. It was interesting that they had a full episode developed to when that whole thing went down.
Well, why don't you explain? I mean, basically, he's been arrested, not convicted yet.
Well, he's been arrested. He's been in jail and being held since 2020.
And is it child pornography charges?
Yeah,
it's bad. It's bad.
They had the two young guys on there when, you were reading, and they found out only because, like moms do, one of the kids had left his device down. She was cleaning up their room and just picked up to do like mothers do because they were young boys. And she said she clicked on something, and the first thing she clicked on, she saw his Snapchat, and she looked in his private messages. And the first thing she saw was a video and clicked on it, and it was a man masturbating. Right. And she went to her son and was like, who is this? And he was like, Jerry. And then he went back and she saw all the messages where he was saying, it's just really bad because it's just like...
It's bad.
It's just bad.
It's bad.
It's bad. But the show, I felt like, handled it in a decent way. And this time we go to schools, their rival school, which is, the Trinity, which is across town, which has a Black coach named Vontae from Florida. So it's about the rivalry between the two schools. And
I have a crazy question because I haven't watched it yet. It wasn't the school they were cheering for a junior college?
Yeah, and so is Trinity.
So how did they fail all their classes and they're still in junior college? I'm being serious. Like, shouldn't they have graduated by now?
A bunch of them did. You will see that a bunch did.
Okay.
Because when this was kind of filmed almost right after.
At the same time.
Starting as that next season, that next semester. That's why you see a bunch of them in there. But you can see a couple did graduate, and you meet some new kids. And you see at the end, you see what happened when the competition got canceled because of COVID. A bunch of the ones that also, they can't come back. So it kind of time jumps a little bit, because of the pandemic. But
I was just a little confused. I wasn't trying to be snarky, but I was like,
but you guys need to watch it. It was interesting, and I thought they handled it well in the story as well. And they kind of focused a lot more on the judges and the coaches a little bit. Kind of gave you the kids, but you could tell they were really pulling back, going in with deep with the kids, so nobody else came out with a story that they were
I was going to say, they were like, okay, we've got two of these kids who are problematic. Maybe let's look at the nice lady with the good nails.
I mean, it's kind of very that. It's like, and I noticed
we know she hasn't screwed up.
I noticed that. I was like, I noticed that they're going really short on the kids. Like, we're not making a star out of any more.
And going to coach Sheryl Crow.
Right.
She does look like Sheryl Crow.
She does look like Sheryl Crow. Does. And the Black coach, Vontae, is kind of fine. He's from Florida and Alabama. So, he's giving you that. He gives you shirt off jogging. You're like, oh, I see you, young Trade. Hey, cheer for this.
At least he's of age.
You know what I mean? This show's so inappropriate.
I think that trying to have sex with 13-year-olds online is way more inappropriate.
And speaking of inappropriate.
All right. Okay. Let me just start this by saying that my best friend several years ago I was up at her house and we started watching this show, and 90 Day Fiancé, and I look at her and I said, we have been friends since 1976. And I cannot believe we have shared boyfriends. We have shared toothbrushes. We have shared a bed, not in a sexual way, but we have shared everything. And you haven't told me about this goddamn show? I am questioning our friendship as we speak. So as you know, TLC, Courtney used to go TLC. It's the learning channel. It is educational. I am learning about things like a K-1 visa. But so Candace and I watch the show like on the phone and we'll call each other. I have now gotten to a point where 90 Day Fiancé, this is before the 90 days. They haven't yet decided. I am now at a point where I feel like I don't know if it's God or the FCC or the voice are testing me, that this is a psychological test to see how much I can put up with, because it's just, between COVID, they're limited in terms of COVID of where they can shoot. So that's reality. I mean, they can't go bopping around all over the place. So you have a lot of people from these weird small towns in Michigan. It's like, okay, or that a lot of stuff set in Turkey, which is fine. But this year, 90 Day Fiancé, there's no one to root for. That's the first problem.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Yeah. I mean, there's one couple to root for, but that's the couple where I feel really bad. And I don't even want to say why I feel so bad. But those of you who watch the show, Caleb and Alina, and if you watch the show, you will know why it's difficult to watch them. And they're the most normal ones, but TLC is just turned to, there's just like, it's a freak show now. The entire channel is a freak show. There's 22-year-old girls who are the size of toddlers. There's people popping, not even just zits, but like, I don't even know what's going on. There's people with funny feet having their feet examined. And then Courtney, there's your new obsession.
I discovered this thing that I didn't know was a thing. I was scrolling through TikTok and I see these two girls, and one is going, "You don't know how it is, Amy. You don't know how it is to be me." And then the other one goes, "There are things you can do. My bills are paid, bitch." And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I sent it to a friend. He was like, "Oh, that's 1,000-Pound Sisters." I'm like, "Excuse me? What is a 1,000-Pound Sister?" He was like, "Oh, it's this show." And he sends me a link. And I was mortified at the antics of what I was seeing. Next thing I know, I had binge watched 2 seasons, because there was 2 seasons of it. And now we're in season 3. And Amy just bought a house. Because
other Amy, I just want to, it's not me. I have not bought a house, nor am I 1,000.
Amy bought a house because, she's had the surgery, even though she's still big, but she had her baby and she wants to have another baby, and she's married and she wanted more room for Gage. But Tammy keeps getting fatter and she's partying with her friends and the guys that she hangs out with, who's the BBW king, and eating pizza and drinking booze and just getting fat. And I'm sitting here like, why is this a television show? Why am I obsessed with it? Why am I scared for Tammy all of the time? Why am I sitting there clapping for Amy because Amy got a house? I was on Amanda's side yelling at the TV when she was arguing with Amy. It's a horrible. TLC is the devil. It is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It used to always be kind of
on that channel.
No, but there's some. All right, I'm going to say something. This is going to sound really, really, because I watch the stuff, and obviously you watch the stuff for escapism. But there is something a little. There's one thing about being overweight. There's nothing wrong. I mean, there's things wrong with being overweight, but it's not my place to call. If you're healthy, whatever. This is like, these women are morbidly, dangerously obese. Okay. They are clearly, there's some sort of inbreeding going on too, because they just look at them.
Do not talk about Amy and Tammy.
All right. But at some point it's just like, is this all here to teach us a lesson about, like, I mean, because it is kind of intense. You're watching people like sort of self-destructing, which is the foundation of reality television. Let's face it, a lot of reality television. Let's see how drunk these crazy women can get. Right. I still watch 90 Day Fiancé. I watch Darcy and Stacey, which I really hate watch because they're insane. I mean, they're absolutely insane. But it is, TLC. It's just one of those. I look forward to Sunday. It's the only time I know what day of the week it is, other than the days we tape and Sunday. It's like, because 90 Day Fiancé, and we just call each other up, Candace and I, and go, "Oh, I don't feel good." It's not working. But I'm glad that you're into the world of 90 Day now.
No, they're not 90 days. So I'm not
90
doing
Day, TLC.
No, only this show.
Yeah, that's what they all say, Courtney. It's a gateway drug.
And I have so much shame around watching it because I look forward to the new episodes. Like, is she going to tell Tammy about the house? And
that's it. You're hooked, baby.
And they're all scared of Tammy.
You're hooked.
I'm like, if Tammy can't do nothing. Like, Tammy got upset because she was scared of going up the ramp, and she made a big fit, and she was like, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here."
You're hooked. Sorry. It's okay. Welcome to the Terror Dome.
It's so bad. It's so horrible.
It's okay. It's okay. We're entitled. We're allowed to do it. All right. What if you want to talk about a little bit what you've been listening to?
All weekend, Bananarama. For some fucking reason, Bananarama.
It's because you're watching really overweight women and you're thinking of food.
No, I don't think that's it. But Bananarama. I've been so full on Bananarama.
Interesting.
Oh shit, Bananarama.
What? I thought something bad was going to happen. Like one of them, just something happened. Well, no. I have not been listening to Bananarama. I think we can safely say that anytime we come in, you can safely say, and Amy has not been listening to Bananarama. Not because I don't like them, just because it would never occur to me.
That first deep sea skeeving, for some reason, I've listened to that album over and over, and then I love their little political moment with Rough Justice and shit. I love that. I just love that.
They had a political moment?
Yeah, they tried to have a little moment where they were writing a little more serious songs. Oh, okay. And that was they weren't as big a hits, and then they went to Stock Aitken and Waterman, and that's when Venus and all of that happened. And all that came. Yeah.
I kind of been, well, first off, I haven't listened to it yet, but I will for next week. There's a new Elvis Costello record out that's supposed to be fantastic. I've been started listening to a lot of Buzzcocks. I love the Buzzcocks. There's all this pop punk stuff going on now, and not a one of them know what they're doing. Pop punk does not mean that you're up there in a miniskirt and playing your guitar fast and faking an English accent. The songs suck. Part of the pot about pop punk is the pop. You have to have like a good song. Right. And the Buzzcocks were a punk band, but they had brilliant songwriting in Pete Shelley, who passed away a couple of years ago. And so I just been listening. They only put out 3 albums in their peak, and then they continued on after Pete Shelley left the group. Singles Going Steady, which is like the best greatest hits record ever, because there's not one song on it where it's a filler. It's like every song is perfect. Them. Everybody's Happy Nowadays. Lipstick. Just perfect. 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, perfect little songs. I actually saw them. When did 78, 79, 79. Gang of Four opened up for them in San Francisco, and Gang of Four was so great that we almost forgot that the Buzzcocks were on the bill. That's how great we were. And then because I was listening to the Buzzcocks, I started listening to Magazine, because Harold Devoto and Pete Shelley used to be in the Buzzcocks, and then I don't know, it just kind of went into this kind of late 70s punk, British punk stuff that, not the better known groups. And then you're going to laugh your ass off when I tell you, but I started listening to a lot of Guam music. Do you know what Guam? GNAWA. It's basically Sufi trance music. Okay. It's the music that the whirling dervishes dance to. Okay. Because I like that kind of for someone who's never done hallucinogenics nor do I smoke weed, I like kind of like losing myself and stuff. It's very I bet if you listen to it, you could hear elements of like dance music.
Yeah, absolutely. You have me interested, actually.
Yeah, it's all very long, and it's it's religious based, and it's Moroccan. They have a big, huge Moroccan world music festival. At least they used to. They don't do it anymore. But it's just sort of put it on and just kind of zoned out. So I was listening to 2.5 minute songs that are punchy, and then 10-minute songs that have no beginning, middle, or end. Nice. I think that sums up our life.
Kind of, sort of. That's New York right now.
Right now. Anything you would like to say in terms of anything else, or you want to do the thing you do?
I would like to say that it's cold in New York and I hate it, but we are getting through this bitch. And wear your mask, wash your hands, do what you got to do. Can we just get over this shit? Now, on a lighter,
get vaccinated.
You know what I mean? Something, because fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like mistake.
Well, we know how to end it.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. So,
and I would really love our mayor to stop talking about how resilient you are, because that's like, we're not getting through this because we're resilient. We're getting through it because we're intelligent and not taking chances. So don't make it sound. It's only honestly, Courtney. You and I take chance. Don't take chances, and we've done the right thing. But it's also just luck of the draw that neither one of us have gotten sick.
It's completely luck of the draw.
Because we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing, but I know tons of people.
I have friends who are doing the fucking right, the same as me. I have friends who did. I had one friend who's not leaving his house for 2+ years, and he finally started like poking his head out, and then he got it. You know what I mean? I have a friend who, like me, just had been in the house with her family and her kids, saw her parents on Christmas, got it from the partner of one of her parents. So, you know, you can be careful. It really is like pulling a slot machine at this point.
Yeah.
You know
so I don't want to hear about resilient. Well, you know, Mayor Swaggy, it's not resilience. It's just us being smart. And if you get it, hopefully you won't be sick.
We're also over it. And on that note, you know what to do, kids. Like us, love us, leave a comment everywhere you listen to us. Thank you. Thank you to Pantheon Podcast Network. Remember, we're there every Thursday. Check them out. On Pantheon now has its own dedicated channel on Apple. We have our own dedicated channel on Pandora, where you can find our show living in both of those spaces. And we have our own dedicated show channel in Apple. We're everywhere. So thank you, guys. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for all of the activity on our Facebook page. I'm going to let you finish, all one word, because we see you guys. We talk to a lot of you every day. You comment on a lot of the stuff we post. Thank you for the DMs and stuff on IG at ImmaLetYouFinish NY, and all of the commentary on Twitter at FinishImma. You know, follow us all there. Tell a friend, pass it on. We're here every week. Some weeks we have guests. Some weeks we have surprises. Some weeks it's just us being just us. And on that note, Amy, take us home.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.